You know, humans really are amazing creatures. Some sing, some dance, some spend hours yelling through their phone about how awful everything is and how they know better, even though they're under 25 and their homepage is salon. And some, when they get up there in years, when the mind is an empty crater and the words have become incoherent babble, like to roleplay as President of the United States.
Right? The pandemic is a big concern. Hospitalizations, death, rising. So you said last month that that the virus is in retreat. Do you still feel that way? Is that still the case?
Look, it's real simple. We have a pandemic for those who haven't gotten a vaccination. It's that basic, that simple. 10,000 people have recently died. 9,950 of them or thereabouts are people who hadn't been vaccinated. This is a simple, basic proposition. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die.
Ooh, hell of a first response to damn near all lies. That's the kind of thing that would get you removed from social media. And I can find no solid evidence of that near 10,000 unvaccinated deaths. But I did find an interesting little fact. It turns out the CDC is not tracking any breakthrough cases. They have no clue of vaccinated infections. I wonder why. And then there's the people who have died from the vaccine. In the UK, there's been 2 BBC presenters who've died from it. By the way, speaking of the BBC, presenter.
I hope it's not self-indulgence, Sir Peter, to ask you about me, because I got coronavirus last week. I'd been double jabbed earlier in the spring and felt, if not king of the world, at least almost entirely immune, and yet I got it. Was I just unlucky?
Doctor on the BBC.
They are less effective at preventing infection. In the end, the majority of infections are in people who've been vaccinated.
And that's mainstream media. Speak of the devil of misinformation, now we can just get it from the crazy man pretending to lead the United States live on TV.
That one of the reasons why, you remember the criticism I got initially saying teachers should get vaccination, get in line first. The vast majority of teachers are vaccinated, number one. Number two, the CDC is going to say that what we should do is everyone under the age of 12 should probably be wearing a mask in school.
Why? There is no evidence that kids are in danger of COVID, for heaven's sakes. And if all of your teachers are vaccinated, and according to you, Joe, they won't be hospitalized but symptomless, and masks do not protect people from COVID, why the hell are you muzzling children, you freaking psycho?
That's probably what's going to happen. Secondly, those over the age of 12 who are able to get vaccinated, if you're vaccinated, you shouldn't wear a mask. If you aren't vaccinated, you should be wearing a mask.
Uh-huh. Let's see if we can get Fauci for comment, shall we?
Good that you're vaccinated, but in a situation where you have people indoors, particularly crowded, you should wear a mask.
I rest my case.
But I think what's going to happen is you're going to see this work out in ways that people are going to know in the community. Everybody knows in the community whether or not Johnny really did get the vaccination when he's 15 or 17 years old. And so I think it's a matter of community responsibility, and I think you're going to see it work through.
Well, let me follow up on a question, ask you, when will children under 12 be able to get vaccinated?
Soon, I believe. Now look.
No, you look. Community responsibility. What kind of creepy communist bullshit is this? You want to give kids under 12 the vaccine. The population of under 12s in the United States is about 48 million. The number of COVID deaths, according to the CDC, for under 18 is 401. 401 out of 73 million is 0.00054. You're an evil, deranged psychopath if you push this on children.
And I've heard you speak about it because I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing.
I really hope you didn't mean the mainstream media on that one, because Joe, look at that. Your media is the least trusted out of 46 countries.
You said that you're talking to scientists, but what are they telling you, Mr. President?
What they're telling me is let us decide based on scientific data and how we proceed.
To scare the shit out of the population for a disease that kills next to no one, so we can pump them full of an experimental drug which he just admitted is not even FDA approved. It's currently under EUA, by the way, so we can make billions of dollars in profit.
Look, for example, everybody talks about how, this virus came, the drugs that are designed to kill the virus came along so quickly. Been working on it for 2 decades. There's nothing quick about this. It's been over 2 decades.
Whoa. It's been over 2 decades? You just admitted it's still not approved. That doesn't inspire more confidence. That only generates more skepticism and questions.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
That is a total farce, even according to him. Not 5 minutes ago he said if you get it, you'll be symptomless. And Don, you aren't doing a damn thing to press against this, you useless bastard.
I am a pediatrician who utilizes social media to educate about health, and I'm very concerned about the rise in misinformation from the anti-vaccine community that is eroding trust in life-saving vaccines. Spread of this misinformation and declining vaccination rates could leave Americans vulnerable to vaccine-preventable diseases in the future. So what I want to know is, what is the White House doing to combat medical misinformation and to restore America's faith in science?
What we're doing is, number one, restore America's faith in science, is listen to the scientists. No, I'm not joking. I mean, literally listen to the scientists. And not interfere, not rush anything.
Woman, you look an ass. They aren't anti-vaccine, they're anti-this vaccine, because it's being used by the state in a coercive fashion. If you're a real Republican and not a two-faced wench, you'd know this. And trusting the science, funny, all the scientists government seems to listen to are conveniently the ones who advocate for more government intervention. I'm sure that is just a coincidence. Far as rush goes, your vaccines are literally still in experimental trial phase and not under FDA approval. This right here, this is why no one believes you. Literally not a single sane person with 2 functioning brain cells trusts the government on this. You have mauled the world's economy into oblivion. You have run roughshod over people's civil liberties. Every government intervention with regards to COVID has made everything measurably worse. Why the hell would they trust you?
There's nothing political about this.
Oh yeah, there's nothing political about this at all. Trust the science.
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Oh, that has aged so well, hasn't it?
We are African American, and in many of our communities, people are against the vaccine. A reason that stood out the most in regards to our guests is that they don't see the vaccine as being as safe as the CDC puts it out to be. How are you working toward convincing those in these communities that the vaccine is safe?
I'm gonna skip that because senile old Joe here goes on a cliched political monologue and does fuck all to answer the question, and instead just speaks about accessibility, which does not equate to safety, you twat.
What we're doing is getting people of consequence who are respected in the community, whether they're athletes, whether or not they are entertainers, whether they're just...
Yeah, trust the scientists, don't mind us, we're just gonna use athletes and entertainers as a means to sway you to take a vaccine. What the hell do they know about the efficacy of a vaccine? Those are not medical personnel. If you ever needed an example of how stupid government thinks you really are, case in point.
But even with my own family, I'm just able to get with them. I haven't seen my mom in 1.5 years, except for 2 weeks ago. I hadn't seen my family for 2 years since the last time they visited me 2 summers ago. But even within my own family, here I am on television every night. There is ambivalence, there's misinformation, and there's also mistrust in the system.
Oh, I just love this moment so much. That tells me even your own family knows you're full of shit, Don. Where are the other lemons? Put them on TV instead. Your ratings suck anyway.
One of the things I said when I ran for office, it's not Democrat, Republican again, is you got to restore faith in government. You got to get people to the point where they trust government.
Fuck no. No real American ever trusts government. Next to demonizing the Founding Fathers and removing the Constitution, I can't think of anything less American than trusting government. And you people are in no way capable of restoring trust in fucking anything.
Raising confidence in elected officials. Raising confidence.
Confidence in elected officials. Well, let's see here, Joe. You destroyed the border protection, you greenlit Russia's energy production, you killed off the Keystone Pipeline, which destroyed union jobs of people who voted for you. You printed money like it's going out of fashion, causing inflation. Petrol prices are skyrocketing. Your son is laundering money through you. You lied through your teeth about meeting his business associates and boasted about getting a prosecutor fired who was looking into your son's corrupt business dealings. And most of that is just since you've been in office for less than 8 fucking months. That's not accounting for your half-a-century shady Senate career.
You know because you're one of the most informed journalists in the country.
Yeah, I can't satirize that. That statement in itself is the punchline.
So with regard to your family in particular, part of it is not just that they see you on television and trust you. The people who seem to have the most impact are that for that 17-year-old kid, the kid he or she plays ball with. Mm-hmm. You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Very well said. I'm gonna be honest, I could have used that clip to describe at least 5 other replies in this video.
So my question is, the economy is picking up significantly as it reopens from the pandemic. Are you concerned about the higher inflation prices, especially as we see gasoline, automotive, and food prices increase rapidly? What is your administration doing to help prevent the economy from overheating, such as the poor and middle class are not hurt by the higher prices of goods in the long run?
Okay, there is no way in hell she is a student and wrote that question.
First of all, the good news is the economy is picking up significantly. It's rational. When you think about it, the cost of an automobile is kind of back to what it was before the pandemic. We compare what the prices were for the last year in the pandemic, and they are up. They're up because, in fact, there was not much call for. For example, automobiles. You had the rental car companies selling off their entire stock. You found yourself in the same way with automobile dealers. And all of a sudden now it's coming back. We're going to grow at 7% as expected.
So much for that one.
And so what's happening now is all of a sudden people are having choices. I always thought the free market system was not only that there's competition among companies, but guess what? Companies should have to compete for workers. And guess what? Maybe we'll pay more money.
Oh, I can't believe I have to explain this. In a business, Joe, the price of goods and services is partly influenced by the cost of labor and resources, called production costs. So if you inflate the value of labor, resulting in a higher production cost, the final end product is going to be more expensive, perhaps beyond what consumers are willing to pay for. The idea of Democrats being for the free market while they suck off every corporate entity, close down small businesses, everything they want involves the expansion of government, while this guy is taking slush money from China and printing money that renders companies unable to hire workers because of cash given to them by the state, and then to have the gall to tell struggling companies who can't even operate to pay people more. With what money? Man, I've always maintained politicians are more malevolent than they are stupid, but my God, that line is blurring fast.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated.
An unusual thing to say, but no, that's your VP. And Nancy Pelosi. And probably Hillary Clinton.
The fact is, you can't look at that television and say, nothing happened on the 6th. You can't listen to people who say this was a peaceful march.
You gotta be kidding me. Look at this. This is footage from the Justice Department inside the Capitol. Look at that scuffle. No smashing, no fire. And look at those two. They're laughing. Then they just walk it off. Yeah, absolute anarchy, that is. Whereas this complete carnage...
All hell breaking loose in Seattle when police lost control of downtown, crowds destroyed, then took over their vehicles.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
But the kinds of things that are being said of late, I think you're beginning to see some of the, and by Democrats as well. Sort of the venom sort of leak out of a lot of it. We got to get beyond this. What do you say to your grandchildren or your children about what's happening? Do you ever remember a time like this before in the entire history? Whether you're a Democrat or Republican?
No, you're right, Joe. I don't recall any time when the media spent 4 straight years gaslighting the living shit out of one man for so much as breathing to the point where your party would call for defunding the police, cause nearly $2 billion worth of property damage, while calling the country systemically racist.
You asked, when I went to this G7, all the major democracies, I walked in, and I know a lot of them because of my role in the past. And they walk in, and I said, America's back. And they go, I'm serious, heads of state. I give you my word as a Biden. I said, are you really back? I mean, how can we believe you, Joe, but will the country ever get it together?
Ah yes, the G7 summit, where you globalist shitheads disobeyed all the COVID restrictions you forced on the people, even though I'd say quite a few of you would die if you were to get it. Far as being back goes, yeah right Biden. Rumors have made the rounds Trudeau said in 2022, Kamala will be president because you've lost your freaking marbles.
I talked to Xi Jinping in China, who I know well.
I wonder why.
We don't agree on a lot of things. He's a bright and really tough guy.
And you paid me 2 stacks to say that.
Democracy has to stand up and demonstrate and get something done.
Funny, your predecessor had a consensus before that China was a threat. And then you showed up and haven't done jack shit.
This is John Lanny. He is the owner and co-founder of a restaurant group with 39 restaurants across the country, Mr. President. He is a Republican. John.
Hi there, Mr. President. Thank you for taking my question tonight. We employ hundreds of hardworking team members throughout the state of Ohio and across the country, and we're looking to hire more every day as we try to restart our restaurant business. The entire industry, amongst other industries, continue to struggle to find employees. How do you and the Biden administration plan to incentivize those that haven't returned to work yet? Hiring is our top priority right now.
Well, 2 things. One, if you notice, we kept you open. We spent billions of dollars to make sure restaurants could stay open.
Come again? You're the one who shut them down in the first place. Now you want thanks for keeping them open with somebody else's money. We're just going to skip his answer and you'll see in a moment why.
Well, let me ask you, because John is looking to hire people. He's got 39 restaurants across the country.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do to help him out? I mean, he's got to get people in.
See? After more than 2 minutes of incoherent rambling on about fuck all, even Don has to step in and re-ask the question because Biden didn't even answer it.
You mentioned something. You said we're going to end the things that may be keeping people back. You think that's the unemployment benefits?
Well, that was
expanded?
argued it was. I don't think it did much. But the point is, it's argued that because the extended unemployment benefits kept people, they'd rather stay home and not work than go to work.
You don't think it did that?
I see no evidence it had any serious impact on it.
What? You boasted about it. Now you're saying it didn't do much. You don't think paying people a sum of money that would rival a business would have an effect? This man is a fucking idiot.
But you can argue, let's assume it did. It's coming to an end. So it's not like we're in a situation where if that was it and it ends, then we're going to see John's going to have no problem.
It did nothing, but it's coming to an end, and then John will have no problem. So will you then admit that it did something? No, I didn't think so.
When I got to the United States Senate at a time when we had guys like Jim Eastland and Strom Thurmond and Robert F. Byrd and a whole range of people who were very, 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 very conservative on race, to say the least.
Ooh, this will be fun. Short history lesson. Jim Eastland was a pro-segregation senator, Democrat of course, who Joe needed to schmooze in order to serve on the Judiciary Committee. And one issue they agreed on seems to have been busing, as we can see here on this document, which would add up with Joe's talk of a racial jungle and saying poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Thurmond was a Southern Dixie Democrat turned Republican who later helped write the Biden-Thurmond crime bill that President Reagan would later veto. Biden shaped the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984, which curtailed access to bail, eliminated parole, created a sentencing commission, and expanded civil asset forfeiture. Eventually, with his co-sponsorship of the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1988, his long sought-after drug czar position was created. Couple that with his infamous 1994 crime bill, which put more blacks in jail than any other administration, the federal prison population would increase roughly 9 times over the course of 33 years. Safe to say, Joe, anything to do with social issues, you should shut the fuck up.
So gun violence has been on the rise across the country, and as a recent student and young professional living in Over the Rhine, I've seen this firsthand. Gun violence has taken the lives of so many young students and young people. I'm tired, and I want to see change that's going to make our cities like Cincinnati safer. So how will you address gun violence from a federal point of view to actually bring about change and make our local cities safer?
No, I'm not being a wise guy.
You can sure say that again, Joe, but not while I'm doing this. Screw Biden's response, he doesn't know dick anyway. His fucking VP was raising funds for groups bailing out rioters. Bollocks to him. Oh wait, hold on, he does say this.
Actually, crime is down. Gun violence and murder rates are up.
Crime is down, gun violence and murder rates are up. Those are crimes, Joe. Anyway, just here and here. So, first things first, get rid of Democrats. 2, actually equip your police with the proper tools to tackle violent crime. And lastly, realize you aren't dealing with rational people. This stupid idea of listening to people who have the grit and toughness of a fucking marshmallow telling the police how to do their job. Piss off, you don't know the first thing about police work. That's all I can handle. The rest of this is a meaningless crock of shit anyway. That's all for today. Until next time.